Hey friends, welcome to the In Focus podcast, a show for photographers who are looking to grow and scale a photography business that feels good. I'm your host, Gina, a wedding and elopement photographer, industry educator, coach, and most importantly, your friend. On this show, we'll dive into actionable strategies, industry trends, and all things photography related so you can leave each episode feeling inspired and in focus. Welcome back to the In Focus podcast. I'm Gina, and you're listening to episode 2 of our 5 Steps to Transform Your Photography Business Today series. These are quick episodes to get the ball rolling. In the last episode, we talked about crafting a clear business vision and how it sets the foundation for everything that you do in your business. Today, we're going to take it a step farther by diving into a topic that's, in my opinion, your biggest tool to help transform your business, and that's your portfolio. Specifically, how to build a killer standout portfolio that attracts your dream clients. If you've ever wondered how to showcase your work in a way that makes people say, I have to hire this photographer, this episode is for you, my friend. When it comes to your portfolio, I want you to remember that your portfolio is often the first impression that potential clients have of your work. It's not just a collection of pretty pictures, it's a visual story that shows what you're capable of and who you serve. Think about it. When someone is searching for a photographer, they're looking for more than just technical skill. They want to be able to see themselves in your images. They want to feel something, they want to connect with it, and they want to connect with it enough to want the same. This is why curating a portfolio that speaks directly to your ideal clients is so important. We really have one shot to make that first impression. And just to make that statement a little bit more important, on the flip side, all it takes is one photo for them to decide that you are not for them. So if there was ever an area that we should be focusing on, it's this right here. And before we dive into our portfolios too much, I want to talk about good portfolios versus better than good portfolios. Photography is a saturated market. You probably already know that. And there are a lot of good photographers out there with good portfolios. If you have a good portfolio, you, my sweet friend, are one of many. And when you are in that category and potential clients are coming and looking at your good portfolio versus another photographer's good portfolio, how do you think that they make their decision? It comes down then to price. And all of a sudden, you're attracting price hunters. And those are not our ideal clients. So you need to elevate your portfolio to be above good. So when someone looks at yours, it's clear that the value of work you provide is significantly higher than your competitors. And while I'm going to give you 3 strategies today to audit our portfolios, I'm going to suggest that before you do that, you take an honest look at your own work from a technical and skill-focused critical eye. And ask yourself if you currently have the technical skills that will elevate your photographs. If you understand lighting and settings and editing enough to get you there. And if not, that is where you should start. And once you've honed in there, then we will build out that standout portfolio. All right, so let's dive in. We really want you to have a consistent and dialed in portfolio. Because here's the thing, if your portfolio is too broad or inconsistent, it can confuse your potential clients. Let's look at weddings specifically for this. One thing with weddings is that most of the time, our clients want a wedding photographer. Yes, there are exceptions to every rule, but I know if I was getting married in this upcoming year, I would be looking for a photographer who's specialized in the type of wedding that I'm planning to have and has work to show for it. If I went to their portfolio, whether that's their website or their Instagram, I'd be a lot more drawn to a photographer who has a ton of work to show from the same type of day that I'm planning. So I can trust that they'd be able to do the same kind of work for me. A portfolio that is curated and intentional acts like a magnet for your dream clients. All right, I think I've got you on the same page as me and that you understand how important your portfolio actually is. So let's talk about what makes a portfolio actually stand out. I'm going to break it down into 3 key elements. The first one is consistency in style. This means having a cohesive look and feel across all of your images. Whether it's light and airy, dark and moody, or bold and vibrant, your style should be recognizable and clear. Here's an example. One of my coaching clients had a mix of editing styles when we first started working together. She was still kind of working on finding her style, and it showed. When I opened up her Instagram, it was like the first thing I noticed, and I truly, to be quite honest, wouldn't have booked her because I wouldn't know as a client of hers what I could expect. So, one of the first things I did with her was a post processing evaluation. I made her show me her process for editing, and we quickly realized she was a little bit all over the place without a clear desired and end result for her images. We honed in on her love for warm and earthy tones, and when she finally embraced and committed to that aesthetic, we made sure all of her images matched that. The difference this made on her portfolio, you guys, I kid you not, it was night and day. It made me actually look at her and go from an immediate no due to lack of trust in knowing what I'd receive to feeling so much more confident in knowing that if I book her, I can fully expect these beautiful, warm, earthy toned images. It was such a positive change in her overall portfolio. The second key element of your portfolio is going to be curation. So when it comes to your portfolio, less is more. Only showcase your best work, the images that make you proud and align with your vision of your brand. Remember what I warned above. It only takes one bad photo for someone to decide that you are not the photographer for them. If you are not entirely proud of an image, do not showcase it anywhere that would be a client's first impression of you. Likewise, we want our best work and the work that aligns with what we want to book. If you're aiming to attract adventurous couples, fill your portfolio with images of mountaintop elopements, forest ceremonies, and intimate outdoor moments. Leave out anything that doesn't fit that narrative, even if it is technically great. I've seen it 1,000 times over, both in my coaching clients as well as my own work, but you will attract and book exactly what you are putting out there into the world. So choose wisely. The third key element of your portfolio should be your storytelling. A standout portfolio doesn't just showcase isolated moments, it helps tell a story, especially in the industry of weddings, but it's becoming really more important in all areas of photography. Look at storytelling family sessions, for example. They've become so much more popular than your basic everybody sit down and smile at the camera family photo. When curating your portfolio, include a mix of wide shots, candid moments, and details that create a complete picture of a wedding day or whatever session you are shooting. For example, you might want to pair an image of a bride and a groom exchanging vows with a shot of the rings or a teary-eyed parent or the venue's breathtaking landscape. This kind of curation helps potential clients envision their own wedding through your lens. This ability to share a mix of shots also lends itself really well to the overall aesthetic of your portfolio as well. So to recap, the best portfolios stand out because they have consistent work that showcases the best images and tells some sort of story for someone to connect with. Now that we know what makes a portfolio stand out, let's talk about how you can build yours. Here are 3 steps to get you started, along with examples of how these steps can transform your business. First, we're going to start with a portfolio audit. I want you to take a critical look at your current portfolio. And this means your website, your Instagram. It's anywhere your potential clients can see your work. For most of us, it's going to be our website. It could also be our blog posts and anything on social media. Ask yourself, do the images I'm showing represent the kind of work that I want to book more of? Do the images align with my vision and my ideal clients? If not, it's time to start curating. For example, one photographer I worked with wanted to shift from shooting large traditional weddings to intimate elopements. When I looked at her portfolio, I saw mostly large weddings in classic and traditional venues. Most of these she mentioned were from second shooting gigs, but they were not what she wanted to shoot herself. So I helped her set up a styled elopement session in a beautiful outdoor location, and we made sure that we got plenty of content, both portraits, but also storytelling shots like scenery and details, close-up shots, and even some iPhone video shots. We then went to her website and removed all of the weddings that showcased big traditional weddings and replaced them with the new content. Within 2 months, she had booked an outdoor elopement and saw a complete transformation in the types of inquiries she was receiving. Step 2. Invest in styled shoots. If your portfolio, after that portfolio audit, you realize it's missing the types of weddings that you want to book, you have to create them. Organize styled shoots that reflect your ideal client's vibe. For example, if you're aiming for luxury weddings, partner with vendors to stage a high-end shoot at an elegant venue. Or if you love boho elopements, collaborate on a styled shoot featuring earthy tones, pampas grass, and maybe a stunning outdoor backdrop. Styled shoots not only give you the imagery you need, but they also help you build relationships with other vendors who can then refer you to clients. This is literally how I got started in weddings and started building up my portfolio. I set up my own styled shoot and I asked friends to wear white dresses. We would go out into the field and I'd practice shooting them. Granted, this was in 2014, so the world of styled shoots has totally elevated since then, but it's definitely a place to start. Now you can gain so much more inspiration for your own styled shoots from Instagram and Pinterest, and you can really create something unique that is exactly what you want to attract. And lastly, showcase your work strategically. It's not just about having beautiful images. You need to present them in a way that connects with potential clients. So use your website, use social media, and even printed materials to help tell a cohesive story about your brand. For example, your best shoots and sessions you should be creating blog posts for. You should then share sneak peeks of those blog posts on social media, as well as creating separate social media posts for those specific sessions or weddings. For example, you could use some of the behind the scenes of a wedding in your stories and in reels. And then you could also create a carousel post for that same wedding, even different posts for different parts of that day, making sure that you're sharing it both to Facebook and your Instagram. If you're on TikTok, share it there as well. And just trying to create as much attention and eyes on this work as possible. Okay, so my favorite part of these strategy episodes is when I get to share real life stories. So I want to share a story about a photographer who transformed her portfolio and in turn her literal business when we worked together. I briefly mentioned her above, but when we first started working together, her portfolio was all over the place, both in terms of editing and content. She had family sessions, senior portraits, a few weddings mixed in, even some corporate headshots, but nothing stood out, and my gosh, it felt all over the place. Her goal was actually to book more vineyard weddings, specifically in Eastern Washington, where she was kind of from, and she felt like the budgets for weddings there was a little bit higher than the small town that she lived in. She reached out to a few local vineyards, and one of them agreed to let her come take photos on their property in exchange for images. She brought in a couple dressed in wedding attire, and then she had a florist design some details for them, and she spent a couple of hours creating content. She also participated in a hosted styled shoot at a local venue that was being put on by a wedding planner who she knew she would love to work with in the future. So she was able to get more content, beautiful content, and make that in-person connection with that planner at that styled shoot as well. She curated her portfolio to include only those images that she took at those two styled shoots. So again, she took a lot of detail shots too, so it didn't feel like it was like the same photo, same couple over and over and over. She revamped her entire website with this more like luxurious feeling, more wine country aesthetic. The result? Within 4 months, she was booking vineyard weddings at her target price point of $5,700. She was also connected with this wedding planner who was now sending clients her way. And she told me once my portfolio reflected what I truly wanted to shoot, it felt like the right clients just started showing up in my inbox. And that right there is the freaking power of a standout portfolio. Okay, let's recap. Today we covered why your portfolio is your most powerful tool, what makes it stand out, and the actionable steps that you can take to build a portfolio that attracts your dream clients. Your next steps? I want you to do a portfolio audit. Audit your current portfolio and remove anything that doesn't align with your vision. You can go back to our first episode if you need to revisit that vision. Do not be soft here. This is make or break for some of you. You need to be really honest with yourself and your work. And if the image isn't a hell yes, then it's not a portfolio image. You can still include it in a longer blog post for storytelling purposes, or maybe a carousel post if you feel that it needs it, but do not make it a make or break decision for booking you. Second, after your own portfolio audit, I want you to take a look at your portfolio and see if there's any holes or gaps that you find or some content that you're missing, or maybe just something that can add to this to make your portfolio even stronger. And I want you to plan or attend a styled shoot or two to fill those specific gaps in your portfolio. After that styled shoot, you're going to come back and you're going to update your website and social media to reflect that change that you made. I love this because I feel like at any point in your business, you can do this. Whether you are just starting out or you are years and years in, it's always so good to go back to that core vision of your business and what you're wanting to attract and just like refine it, dial it back in and get really focused on who you're targeting, really narrow in on it and see the kind of power and impact you can make by just focusing on that one aspect of your business. We're also entering a great time of year for this. It's usually a little bit slower in the winter months. And so this is a great time of year for us wedding photographers who probably wouldn't have as much time for this in a busy wedding season to really get creative and utilize that extra creative energy that we have. Remember, your portfolio is a living, breathing representation of your brand. Keep refining it as your vision evolves and your business grows. Keep pushing it and yourself to be the absolute best version that it can be. What's fun about this is that as your business grows, you as an artist are going to grow, and therefore your portfolio has to grow and improve too to reflect that. I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the In Focus podcast. If you found this helpful at all, I'd love for you to subscribe. It would mean the world for me for you to leave a review. In my next episode, episode 3, we're going to dive into pricing strategies that will help you book clients at your worth. You don't want to miss that one. Until then, stay focused and keep smiling.